I'm Maddie.
People assume I'm not a harmless old lady. Nobody sees me coming. I know we can win this. Best to listen to her in these moments.
Matlock returns new CBS Thursday, January 30th, and streaming on Paramount Plus. NCIS Origins. New episodes return CBS Monday, January 27th.
59 Sports Overtime.
Hello and welcome to Sports Overtime here on Fox 59. I'm Chris Hagan. Sorry to interrupt your snow coverage, but let's talk some sports. The Colts lost last week against the Giants and made today's season finale meaningless from a playoff perspective, but pride is always on the line in the NFL, especially against a division rival. It's the Colts and Jaguars as seen right here on Fox 59. A lot of empty seats at Lucas Oil. News leads to this. Matt Gay, 38 yards out for the lead, and he is true. But remember, the Jags get it. They can't convert on fourth down, and that's your ball game. The season ends and the calendar year begins on a winning note. 26-23, the final from Lucas Oil, and our Alexa Ross was there.
The Colts wrapped up a disappointing season with an overtime win over the Jaguars.
Shows that we're not going to quit. I mean, it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, that we're going to play hard just regardless.
Zaire Franklin ended his incredible year of tackling with a third down sack for a loss of 16 yards.
Definitely special. Just being able to make a play to help the team win at home against a divisional opponent. It's just how I'd rather go out.
On the other side of the ball, Jonathan Taylor's 177 rushing yards against the Jags were his second most in a game this year, his fifth straight with more than 100 yards.
You have different games where the team leans on you and you're able to come through, but you want to be able to do that every single time, every single down, every single play to be elite.
Ran hard, man. He's been running hard all year. Obviously popped some big runs for us there, especially there in that overtime, deal to get us down in there to get the field goal.
Sunday's season finale could be the final time center Ryan Kelly wears the horseshoe as the longest tenured Colt enters free agency.
I just can't be more thankful to be drafted here. 9 years ago, 2 hours from home, through all the ups and downs. I mean, there's not another place that I'd love to rather be. Indy will always be home, and I love this horseshoe, man.
He's fought through a lot of adversity with life, like what life's thrown him, and just seeing his resilience and seeing how strong he is was really admirable and inspiring to me.
He's meant a ton. Just being able to see, one, how to be a pro, how to be a leader, and also how to be active in the community outside of the lines. He's one of those true pros.
I'm kind of like a moment of reflection of my career, you know what I mean? So if I'm part of the team going forward, great. If not, it's an honor to wear the horseshoe.
Just one of the many possible changes this team will see this offseason. With the Colts, I'm Alexa Ross.
Setting us up there, Adam, but it was a bittersweet win for the Colts to close out the season. Their playoff hopes were ended a week ago, but they fought to the end today for that final victory. WRTV's Brad Brown has a look at how it came together.
It was scoreline, but a 26-23 overtime victory over the Jags to close out this last game of the schedule.
It was one of those years, a down year for us, but again, I'm going to work relentlessly along with everyone to get this thing going in the right direction so we can put a championship culture and winning product on the field next year.
It was a day that saw Anthony Richardson watching once again from the sidelines, a back injury that lingered over these final 2 weeks, and seemingly a huge question mark about his future with the franchise. And Joe Flacco filled in well enough once again.
I don't know, maybe you try to talk yourself into thinking these games don't mean a lot to ease your mind a little bit, but it's still an NFL game, and it's still our profession. There's always something on the line. There's always a lot on the line.
His 40-yard touchdown catch got the Colts their first points of the day.
There's a limited opportunities, limited balls here, so you just got to be able to make the play when you get the chance, and I'm just
be efficient. Just finding ways though to elevate those critical plays. You have different games where the team leans on you, and
including myself, we need to go to work this offseason and come back ready to work, focus, and compete at a very high level.
And so now the Colts will face the potential drama that every team that doesn't make the playoffs faces on the day after the season ends. Will there be sweeping changes to this team from the top down? It feels like anybody who could be fired may have their job on the line now that this 2024 season is behind them. And a massive turning point potentially for this team heading into 2025. We'll see how those decisions all play out come Monday. At Lucas Oil Stadium, Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
The Colts season is officially over, ending with a 26-23 win in overtime over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, no playoffs for the team this year, but our Rich Nye was at Lucas Oil Stadium for a positive end to a disappointing season.
Overtime is not what anyone wanted. Not in a game with two teams with nothing to play for toward the postseason. But it did allow the Colts to extend their season for a few minutes. In the fourth straight year, they will not go to the playoffs. The Colts win 26-23 in overtime over the Jaguars.
To get a victory at the end of the year was huge. Obviously not where we want to be. Obviously we want to be in the playoffs. That part is disappointing, but I am proud of the way the guys fought this last game.
The last thing I think most people want to see, and when you're in the last game of a season, is all of a sudden we're going to overtime. You know, that was another just impressive, you know, mindset for guys to just kind of put everything out of their mind, go out there, be in the moment, concentrate on the task at hand, and go down and have a good drive.
Anthony Richardson watched almost 40-year-old Joe Flacco start the final game of the regular season. The Colts quarterback situation is uncertain, but the running back situation is just fine. Jonathan Taylor ran 34 times for 177 yards and a touchdown.
But definitely bittersweet. I'm just ended off the year with a win. Of course, you know, can't obtain our goal for this year, but it was something that we needed in order to just start off 2025 on the right foot, have everybody go into the offseason on a high note, to work on themselves, to be ready to come back together and push towards that goal.
Small groups of fans were chanting "Fire Ballard" in the stands late in the game, referring to Colts general manager Chris Ballard. Any changes at the top of the franchise usually come quickly after the end of the season. At Lucas Oil Stadium, Rich Nye, 13 Sports.
All right, thanks, Alexa. On that note, let's bring in J&V one final time for this Colts season. John, it ends with a victory, but a lot to be decided in the days and weeks ahead.
Yeah, the weather tells the story outside. It's like we're all on the Hoth ice planet right now, or the Empire Strikes Back or something. Yeah, I mean, and the thing held on as long as it possibly could earlier today, Chris. It just did. And it is one of the worst. It wasn't, you know, the total clown show that 22 was. It's just so disappointing, Chris, because this is who the Colts have become. When they look in the mirror, their reflection is not who they once were during the Manning era or who they think they are by the process and the blueprint and all that. They're the team that has bungled through the last handful of seasons to where we witness them right now, not making the postseason, not having a playoff game, not having a playoff win, no division titles in 10 years. That's who the Colts are, mediocre and below, no matter what they see in their reflection.
Haven't won a season opener since 2013. Haven't won the division since 2014. Haven't been to the playoffs since 2020. All three of those streaks continue this year. Is it talent? Is it coaching? Is it management? Because at times, I'll start to believe what they say about, hey, we got the roster, we got the coaching. Where has this thing gone south, and how has it stayed that way for so long?
No, it's all the above, Chris. I mean, you hit it all on the head there. It's the operation. It's the operation from top to bottom. That's why I've suggested, if you're going to make changes, oh, yeah, so you're going to let Gus Bradley's contract expire? Oh, that's nice and convenient. If you're going to make changes, make changes. I mean, don't halfway go here and halfway go there. And we can see, I feel comfortable in suggesting to you, what I have seen with this group is not working now and will not work in the future. And in the NFL, the quicker you realize it's not going to work and get on to what hopefully is going to with the new plan, the better off you're going to be. Unfortunately, I don't think the Colts are going that direction.
What do you do about Anthony Richardson? The guy's only played in 15 games, through 34 as a pro. Less than half the time he's on the field, be it a different injury, be it a suspension, if you want to call it that. What do you have with this guy, or do you even know right now?
Well, listen, I feel I know he's not going to be it. But why do you have to get rid of him? He's going to be there next year. You have to find somebody, anybody you know can come in and make it an open competition. To give him competition, not 39-year-old quarterback guy behind him or the journeyman quarterback behind him. Legitimate competition. And next year has to be the year.
What do they do about it? Seems like a disconnect with the fans. Pat McAfee, one of those at the forefront, talking about not being happy. Can they mend all that stuff between now and next season?
Well, I mean, you saw Anthony there today, and everybody said, well, you know, it snowed outside in the snowstorm. They weren't going to be there anyway, to be honest with you. I mean, that's what you're going to see. They're going to have a whiteout, for example, Chris, every single home game next year if they only do like one minor detail moving forward, because the fans, much like I'm talking to you right now, they understand, they know, they've seen it, that what they're doing right now doesn't work. Whether we're talking about Chris Ballard, I think Shane Steichen gets swamped in his coaching capabilities and duties. Offensively, okay, I'll give him a thumbs up. I think he is really good at that. Coaching-wise, not so much. And, you know, I gave the story on Richardson, Chris. So that's what the fans see. That's where the fans are with this thing right now.
All right, John, it'll be a long break between now and training camp, but we'll still talk to you each and every week. Right now, stay warm, and thanks for the time.
You got it, Chris.
And, John, now we are hearing from Jim Irsay via X, quote, "I've been evaluating our entire operation, and I believe in Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen and our collective ability to make the improvements needed to take us to the next level in 2025. I know fans who want an immediate change in leadership will be disappointed. That means we have a lot to prove," end quote. Yes, indeed, Mr. Irsay. Let's hit a break. We got more after this.
We're back on Sports Overtime, joined by Joel A. Erickson of the Indy Star for First and Joel, which is more like Last and Joel today as the Colts season comes to an end. But, Joel, it is a victory, an overtime victory. The fans that braved the Colts saw the Colts end the season with a victory. Ultimately, a season that many would like to forget, but a positive way to go out.
Yeah, and kind of gave you a chance to recognize some of the guys who did have fairly good seasons. You know, Jonathan Taylor, 177 yards. He's going to end up with more than 1,400, probably be top 5-ish in the league in rushing. Obviously some big mistakes from him, but he really grinded down the stretch. Alec Pierce also making the initial touchdown, the last one, breakout season for him. You got a couple of offensive moments that kind of made you feel good about some of the weapons on this team, even if you still don't feel great about that quarterback spot.
I'll throw in Zaire Franklin's big sack at the end as well. That kind of helped end the game at the very end of things. Looking forward now, because our attention has to go forward. What are your first priorities as this season itself comes to an end as a beat writer for the Indianapolis Colts?
Well, number one, we've got to figure out what Jim Irsay wants to do. Does he want to make a move at general manager? Does he want to make a move at head coach? I think that general manager one is the most important one because it leads to everything else. If those guys stay, do they make a move at defensive coordinator? What are the changes going to be for a team that keeps coming up short and hasn't made the playoffs since 2020?
When it comes to changes, what would be the most surprising to you? Chris Ballard returns, Shane Steichen returns, Anthony Richardson returns unchallenged to be the #1 quarterback of this team.
I think it's the last one. I think it's Anthony Richardson returning unchallenged. You know, Jim Irsay has generally been a fairly patient owner with his head coach, with his general manager, specifically with Ballard. The quarterback spot, what we've seen from Richardson, not taking a step forward in terms of his accuracy as a passer in general, some of the inexperience showing through, and then the injuries, the constant injuries, always having something different. I think you have to bring in somebody who is not like a Joe Flacco where there might not be a future there. And maybe if you don't draft somebody, but you have to find somebody who's young enough that if there's something there, you can move forward and who can really press him for that starting spot.
Seems like it has worked for some other teams. Sam Darnold, one of the first ones that comes to my mind. But as we go into our future, of course, and as the Colts as well, Indianapolis is going to look a little bit different next year. But here on the Blue Zone, we want to break out the bank for Joel A. Erickson to keep him alongside us and on Sports Overtime as well. Can you promise me right now that you have plans to return in 2025?
I have plans to return to the Blue Zone in 2025.
You and me both. So we'll be here yet again to bring you whoever is back for the Indianapolis Colts. Hopefully it will be a season that sends them back to the playoffs for the first time in what would be a 4-year drought, and perhaps an AFC South title for the first time since 2014. Check out all his work online, IndyStar.com. Chris, back to you.